focus on the questions like, can we get an event tech set up within 90 minutes? And can we get out of here in 90 minutes? What do we need to do? What prep work? How to be efficient? How to train crew? How to arrange your gear? This session will discuss all these aspects and even more. So let's give a round of applause to our speakers. Sachit Subramanian, co-founder and CEO, Circle Pro Audio. Sancheth Suvarna, Senior Engineer, NJSM, Touring Engineer, co-founder and product head, Circle Pro Audio. Vishrut V. Joshi, Head Operations, Mega Sound India, and Luca Opisi, Tech Sales Executive at Link Italy. Can we have our panelists on stage, please? Mr. Sachit Subramanian is the co-founder and CEO of Circle Pro Audio, one of India's first homegrown brand that manufactures a range of RF solutions and allied devices. He is also the co-founder of Circle Pave, who distribute Eurocable, Link Italy, ARNO, Guild Stands, Dirty Rigger in India. Apart from these, he is also on the advisory board for NJSM, India's premium rental company. I would also like to introduce Sancheth Suvarna, the co-founder and product head of Circle Pro Audio, one of India's first homegrown brand that manufactures a range of RF solutions and allied devices. We have on our panelists Vishrut V. Joshi, an audio engineer who has dedicated his career to the art and science of sound reinforcement. With 10 years of experience in the industry, he has the privilege of working on numerous live events, concerts, festivals, and corporate functions as system designer and engineer. Luca Opisi, Technical Sales Executive at Link Italy. He is the audio engineer for 15 years with 2 years of experience as RF manager. He landed to Link Italy as customized solutions specialist. From 2007, he managed projects for studios, production companies, and installations. Audience, can we please have a round of applause for our panelists? We may begin the session now. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think to give a basic idea about what we wanted to talk here or what we wanted to discuss here is India as a market for audio, video, lighting, etc. is growing at a very tremendous pace. And we have seen that over the last few years, some extremely important and international tours, etc., have been happening. The quality of production that is there within our country has kind of improved a lot. But what's kind of missing is, do you really need so much time to set up an event, or can we do it faster? Or are we kind of slow because of some elements that are that can be easily reworked upon? You know, that's the whole idea about this discussion. And like I said, it's going to be a very casual chat that we are having. We are going to talk about our experiences, and let's kind of start with how each one have seen their journey. I'll start with myself first to begin with. I got into this industry about 12 years to be precise, 12 years back now. And the kind of difference that I have seen as part of a rental company, like when we started, I remember everything was out there in the open. You know, we had to pick different cables. If I had to run a band of, say a 5-piece band, there was no concept of a snake or things like that. I mean, so on the stage I'm talking about, I mean, there was no concept of stage splits on snake. I mean, we used to run 50 cables from the stage every time from the particular microphone or the instrument, right all the way back to to the snake that connects the mixer and the stage, because and that time it used to be analog. I mean, there was no digital era and all. So that's how we started, and then how we kind of grew out and we went into going digital and using Cat5 signals instead of running long snake runs. And all these things are so amusing, so amazing that, it just made life easier. I mean, Sancheth, how did you start?
I started in this field as a DJ because that was the only entry point that I saw. I started as a DJ, not a great one though. Then I started doing live shows. I started doing as a stage tech. I really liked what was happening on stage. Too many connections. It really caught my attention. So that is the time when I decided that I have to get into live sound. Live sound as in on the band and that side of the spectrum. So that's how I got into it. And that's the journey. It's been almost like 12 years now for me.
So basically, I started as a fantasizing about the speakers. So I was so fascinated about that. I need lots of speakers in my home and all that. So I used to deploy lots of speakers, small speakers, home theater systems and all that. And this is how journey started, man. From there to small speakers to the all big linearies, this is how it started, man.
I think everybody had the same thing. Luca, what about you? How did you end up into this mad world of audio and video? And
I started from the very bottom of the situation. I was the guy which was coiling the cable on the stage. Then
everyone started the same way.
Yeah, everybody coiled cables.
Everybody coiling cable. Then I work in a studio. Then I started as a sound engineer for live event, starting from stage engineering and then to front of eye. All the steps of this career have been done. So I've seen from the very small gig up to the big concert, the big setup made with Link. So I had the honor of engineer some of big tour or big configuration for manufacturing. So seeing things from how they are in the very small situation up to how the big player does in bigger situation.
So I'll just pick one point up from what Luca said. He spoke about coiling cables. So if you look at our regular, any of our events that we do, one of the biggest time-taking process is coiling cables.
Yeah.
So I'll ask both of you, I mean, have you guys found some innovative solutions to coil cables faster? Because that's kind of one of the longest taking process, I must say, coiling cables, and the most irritating one also.
And if you coil the cables in the deep winters and all that, it's a very tough task, huh?
Okay. So so since you guys are
guys are based in north, so you have winter issues. We don't have that yet.
It's like 2 degrees Celsius and all that in the deep 2 o'clock in the midnights, and it's very hard to wrap the cables and all that because it becomes so hard and all that. It's a very tough task.
So what's like a easy solution for coiling cables? Let's kind of think about that. I mean, can we get out of coiling cables?
Good quality cable.
Good quality cable.
I think the difference is in coiling. The only difference is to have a good quality cable, a good rubber, flexibility, and heaviness. Well-made cable can make the difference in coiling.
In coiling, yeah.
And in terms of managing the cable, the good quality cable makes the difference, but I think also reducing the quantity.
I was going to say that use more number of snake cables to reduce your cable runs. That will help you save a lot of time in coiling the cables. See, you can't run away from coiling cables. You have to do it manually. So reducing the number of cables will definitely help you reduce your time.
So reducing the number of cables and good quality cables. So when you say reducing the number of cables, so snake is something that you just spoke about. Let's kind of get into how important is snake. Like, I don't even know how many people really understand the importance of running a snake box on stage. Like, I've seen people running snake boxes for, having it from your FOH to monitor run or FOH to stage runs and things like that. But how important is a snake cable when it's literally running the show on stage? Let's take some examples. I mean, can you run some examples by Vishrut and?
So basically, when I was in previous years of the rental companies, I did myself as 50 channels of the XLR cables, band patchings and all that. Because that time we don't have any cables and all that. Multi-snakes we don't have. The biggest issues and biggest problem which I faced was to find the troubleshooting cables and all that. Because on that 50 cables, I can't find, okay, this is the wrong cables and all that. So this was the biggest issue which we have found. What a snake can do is like, okay, you have that snake and what you have the particular channels and all that. This is something you can find out, okay, this is the snake and this is the channel which we have find out. Okay, something is wrong with this channel, you can swap that channel and put in some other snakes and all that. This is what you can do with the snakes and all. But in that bunch of 50 cables and all that, you can't identify in a quick instant of time that, okay, this is the wrong cable, you have to rectify that.
Right.
So that's why even we are making our transition from a normal snake to a multi-pin snake.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, multi-pin snake. So, say for example, I'm running, say, a XYZ Bollywood artist show, okay, and I need to run, like, say, 72 channels of audio from one place to the other and make sure that it's not failing on me. Okay, so what's the kind of setup that I should do to make my life easy?
If you're talking snake point of view,
yeah, on the stage, snake part of view.
If you use 7 cables of a multi-pin cable, 12 channels, you're just running 7 snakes on stage. And the rest is all small cables that you need to do to patch the rest of the band. That's it. Your stage is automatically clean. You will take less time to do your setup and wind up.
Okay.
So basically, you have to find out what exactly we are using it. So when it comes to the drum kit, okay, I have 12 channels of drum kit. So you need a 12 channel snakes and all that, which can directly come to the drum kits and all that. Then you need to that, okay, some percussion line, we need some 8 to channels of percussion. Okay, 8 channel lines goes to the percussion parts and all that. We can differentiate with that. Okay, so this is the percussion line, this is the drums line, keyboards line. You can put another 8 channels for the 4 keyboard stereo lines and all that. This is how it goes and all. It is used to deploy in such a manner that you can easily rectify where the problem was.
I was thinking about how to achieve 90 minutes in and 90 minutes out.
I think we should actually start from the start, from loading out of the warehouse.
Loading out of the warehouse is very important.
Sorry?
Loading out of the warehouse.
Yeah, the idea to achieve such incredible time compared to how many things must be done in a stage consists in some things. I think now we are seeing a big decrease in the number of copper running back and forward from the stage to the stage box and from the stage box to the front of house. So considering the future, you say, okay, now with the fiber, with the other technologies, the cable will be less and less and less. But from here, from now to the future, what must be considered is the mindset changing in the technician. So the things people should consider is that how to optimize all the process from the warehouse to the stage in order to have a scalable system that can be replicated every event, which is something not usual in some situation. I can see an extreme. I was speaking about with the guys here before. In the big tour company, they concentrate into big cage, 1.5 ton, in order to have amplifier already set up, already done, ready to be placed. But they work with forklift from the truck to the stage is a different kind of application.
That's not how we work in India.
Yeah,
because we don't have constant tour that is happening with the same artist. It's for rental companies here, it's a new show every day with a different artist.
Yeah.
So we might not be using the same setup today what we are using tomorrow. There might be few changes. So we can't have that same big cage setup that you're saying.
And I don't know if we can even afford forklifts and No,
No,
we'll have
no, I
people
don't
running
think-
around with forklifts inside the venues if we do end up buying forklifts.
I don't think it's something applicable right now, but for sure it's going to be the
In
future.
the future, yes.
Yeah.
And the thing that changed the game is the mindset to consider everything done in the warehouse. And
Pre-planning. I mean, a lot of pre-planning, you mean?
and considering it scalable and like a Lego.
So what I would suggest vendors here in India to, I see a lot of people even today, their mic racks, their amp racks are still not pre-wired. Everything happens on
Oh,
the
yes.
venue.
Oh,
So
yes.
what I would suggest all the vendors in India at least to have their mic racks to be set up pre-wired inside. So that you just have to give one power to your, for example, a mic rack or a IEM. Everything has to be pre-wired inside, and you are not wasting time, individual time, connecting each and every power cord to each and every receiver or an IEM rack or an amplifier.
So this is how we design in Mega Sound, you know. So basically what we are into initially we design entire event, okay, this is our mic rack, how it has to be designed, okay. To achieve that particular time slot in a less amount of time, we design in such a way that we have to just connect a power and a signal, and rest everything has to be work. And how can everything, you have to trust your equipment, you have to do proper maintenance about the equipments, because when you go to the shows with a very tight schedule, you know that equipments, if your equipments are not working, then you don't have any other backup plans and all that. So each and every instrument has to be properly checked. Once the show gets over, you have to be properly check your cables and all that. Then you can multiply those racks into the multiple racks and all that. So that you can, whenever, no matter how many racks you are deploying, you just have to connect the powers and the signals, that's it, and the RF cables.
I think over here, then in that case, education is something that
Yes.
is a topic that
So
is
that's what I
kind
was
of
gonna tell everyone. If anyone here who wants to make a rack and doesn't have an idea how to get it done, they can always get in touch with us. We'll help you guys how to design a flight case with everything inside it, what
Yeah.
is needed.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, I think in general, education about how to pre-wire stuff, how to maintain your gear. I think gear maintenance is something that starts right at the warehouse. It starts at home. What's happening is with the kind of events that are happening back to back for vendors, for engineers, for technicians, for everybody. It's just that, you just keep running. You finish one, you go to the next. You finish one, you go to the next.
So, that is still okay. If you're doing one event, you're going to the next place. Having proper racks, your speakers in a proper flight case, you can't take one speaker inside to the venue. That's not going to work. You need to have
Dollies
doing back-to-back shows is not a problem, but how are you able to achieve it? That is the thing.
Correct.
And there is one more important thing while designing the racks, that you need it to be robust, it need to be the road friendly, because the Indian roads are very bad. The equipments got very shuffled in the trucks and all that. The equipments, there are all electronic equipments inside that. So if you made the racks bad with the lots of non-shocking absorbent and all that, it will give you the bad result on the shows. Something goes wrong.
Correct. So, to touch up to what Vishrut and Sancheth both said is, maintaining your gear and maintaining the allied accessories that come along with the gear, be it cables, flight cases, or whatever it is, they need to be so robust that it kind of takes the beating. And once you are clear out there, you trust your equipment blindly. Then 90 minutes is possible, because you are just going to set up, plug in, and be sure that when you go live, it's all going to come alive. And it's not going to
It
mess
allows
up.
more time to sound check and all the configuration on site. But just thinking about how difficult it is if something bad happened on the venue, on site. If something is not working, you have to troubleshoot everything. You have to find the right problem to fix it in a dirty place. And work in a very harsh environment, which is a real problem. Also, configuration of RRF, the rack, already with all the right frequency, already separated, already done to be deployed, have a good backbone which carry the signal tested in-house. And one thing that I always did was to carry always a separate box to put all the damaged things on site, so that I isolate them. And
You're
in the
talking
next
about
time,
faulty cables, if
Yeah.
you get any. Okay.
it runs separately. It comes empty and hopefully come back empty.
Empty.
But it's a good advice to keep apart always all the damaged things.
In my scene, we have created a group name as a maintenance group. Whenever something goes wrong in the group, we have to click that picture and send it to the group, and the action has to be done in the next 2 days. That's it.
Actionable of repaired goods. That's a very interesting concept of faulty goods. Yeah, it's, actionable.
It has to be
faulty
done.
goods. Yeah, and it also helps saving time while setup. Primarily because you know, as a matter of fact, that you're not going to be carrying any faulty goods with you. So it kind of helps a lot. So I'll come back to a little bit on education. So that's something I feel that is missing within our ecosystem of the technical guild within the event industry in India specifically, be it audio, video, lighting, or anything. That if you look at this is something that Luca and I were having a conversation yesterday, and he kind of pointed this out, that internationally, globally, if you see the crew that works on a show, okay, out of the 100%, 95% of them are technically knowledgeable. But if you look at what we do in India, if there is a crew of 100%, there will be only 30% of technically sound crew. The rest will mainly be laborers who are lifting, or runner boys who just know to differentiate between a XLR cable and a jack-to-jack cable, and that's about it. So education as a concept, bridging that gap, like teaching your technicians on the different nuances of audio, video, lighting, whatever be the business that one is into, is a very important task. Because what happens is, when you're setting up, now suddenly, say you're a 10-man crew that's going. If I have to take the mathematics, you'll have one engineer, you'll have one stage guy. I think you'll have only 2 people who really know, or say 2 stage guy and 1 engineer. Okay, these 3 are the guys who really know how to troubleshoot in case of problems. These 3 are the only people who know how to even fix the gear to be ready for a show. The rest of the guys are literally just lifting things and bringing in. I mean, trying to educate everybody within your organization. You don't need to be spending a lot of money or sending them to fancy schools or anything, but just educating them within your warehouse. I will say over here that in some reasons we are blessed to have a slack period. I know the rental guys will kind of come and kill me for this, but we are kind of blessed to have a slack period during rains in our country.
If you have a good season, there's nothing wrong in having
having a slack season also. So what happens is, we are blessed to have a slack season where we have very less shows. This is something that this is the time that we need to utilize to kind of repair maintenance of gears. That's something that everybody does, as a matter of fact, I know. But education involving your you don't need to hire expensive assets. You can actually just educate your asset that you are already having, so that tomorrow you are having 10 people setting up your show. So you break down your setup time and your wind-up time, saying you manage FOH, you manage stage, you manage power, you manage RF, and you manage miking, for example, and you're done. Like, you're going to be set up so soon.
In this, I just want to say to educating the smart people who are very smart to take the decisions of their own, who can use the logic behind that. Okay, if I do something like this will hold out. You can't do a spoon feeding. Okay, don't put the cable like this. He has some knowledge. Okay, we can't put the cable like this, because at the end of the day, if the put this cable wrong, the cable has to be damaged and all that.
But that is the thing. We have to create a next generation of technicians. We have to prepare them. Yeah. There will be a lot of people who are not that technically sound, but with proper training, you can make them smart.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and then probably you don't even require so many people to run a show.
Yeah.
I mean, apart from loading and lifting, that's a different thing.
Yeah. There are other things that can help, except to know what people are handling. I remember one of the first job I made was going to UK, and there was a production company working with cinema. And when I said, okay, I'm providing cable with a color locking ring to be located immediately for length as a code, he went mad, completely mad, because it was things very easy to do, to achieve, but it solved a problem. You can locate the right length, the right cable in a messy situation, because the stage is always a messy situation. So, extending my thought, what I'm thinking is, apart to educate people, to create a, sorry to say this way, but a foolproof configuration, which has very small number of connection, very clean run of cable on the stage.
Label everything.
Label everything.
Look, bring less cable means less weight, less volume, but more easiness to locate everything in an inventory.
Like Lucas said that we have to make a process and all that. Okay, yeah. So what we do is like you make a system in like that people are not smarter. We can't give a chance to do a mistake. Make a system in such a way that okay, this cable will go in this only, else it won't go anywhere.
So that's an SOP. Basically, you're creating an SOP saying that if I am taking this particular rig, this is how I need to set it up. This cable needs to go here. This cable needs to go here, and it will be done. And you pre-prep all these things in the warehouse. Like,
this is how you can.
And that's how life becomes much more easier, much more robust, and it should be 90 minutes in and 90 minutes out then.
Yeah, and also must be considered that the big cable is usually more resistant than the single microphone cable as a structure. So,
correct.
Bringing, in terms of cost, okay, split in three subjects: cost of manpower, number of people in the stage, cost of the cable themselves, and I don't know how to say in English. Sorry, I'm in Italian. The lasting, the reliability in the future, durability
longevity of the cable.
These three subjects are mandatory to consider an equipment, to trust on what you are bringing in the stage. Because if you sum the number of single run you are using to create the same situation is exceeding the cost of the investment of multi-pin connector.
Got it.
For sure, because the number of XLR are much, and they are more expensive. The durability of a thicker cable is usually more interesting, more affordable, let's say, and they are easy to be handled.
Got it. So if I have to summarize from the beginning, it's more like maintenance of. I mean, if I have to look back from the warehouse standpoint, maintenance is something that's very important. Making sure that you're having the right accessories to the gear that will help you make sure that your gear is in right condition. Then making sure that when you're coming on show, your crew is educated, so your run times becomes faster and your setup times become faster. Using the right cables, using a good quality cables, so that you reduce your chances of mistakes happening on site and thereby having things to go faster. So this is where we are at right now. And of course, when it comes to setup on stage, using more number of snakes than single cables to set up your show, that will make your stage time quicker. And this is where we are in achieving. So now tell me practically, can we do this kind of stuff in 90 minutes?
We can do this kind of stuff in less than 20 minutes.
Less than 20 minutes, wow.
Yeah. Because now what we are doing is like, you can make a good cables, we can make a good racks, but what people are not doing is make a good updating themselves with the new technologies and all that. Because there are a hell lot of technologies coming which can reduce your time on the stage and all that. Now we can patch the entire good 60 channel band in less than 10 minutes.
A 60 channel band in less than 10 minutes.
And we can do a changeover in less than 5 minutes.
See, because we have to do it regularly when you're doing a corporate show. Once the artist sound check is done, they want the entire stage to be cleared.
Yes.
Okay.
Because they want the LED to be clear. How will you achieve to move the entire band out of the stage? And then when it's time for them to perform, you have to get everything back on stage. You have to patch everything, and the client will only give you 15 minutes max.
Yeah, so I think this is
15 minutes way, man.
You
5
remember,
minutes.
Sancheth, we did that show about 3 days back with Abhijit Sawant.
Yeah,
I think that's what happened there, right?
That's what happened there. We had to remove. We locked the show. That was the only criteria that client wanted to know. Will you be able to move everything out and put it again in 15 minutes? We said, yes, we'll do it for you. And that's how we got the job. And we did it. We were able to achieve it.
What we guys do is like, we patched everything and all that. Now we are shifted from XLRs. The XLRs only from the mics to the patch bay. That's it. And now we are running all the Cat5 cables and all that. What you do? Just plug a Cat5.
Okay, so you got your stage
on Cat5s now.
No, they're using the
we are using the catapults now. Radial
okay,
catapults.
your catapults, okay.
So we just have to label the Cat5 and we have to plug it. And you're good to go with the lines.
Superb.
Yeah, I recently I was receiving a request from a small production company making corporate, and we designed something very easy, because another thing I was thinking about is the importance of a good backbone between stage and front of house, because usually it's the messy
keep it closer, the mic.
Sorry, it's the messy part of the configuration, and is where you have to run singularly every cable. And so there was a configuration in our range, but I don't want to promote anything, which 2 Cat6 and 2 digital line and 1 power. So DMX back and forward, and Dante back and forward, and they set up in 10 minutes. It's my record. It's a complete configuration. They just opened the boxes, connect this only connector. Everything is pre-wired into a big console case, and it's done.
Yeah, I've seen one of the vendors, one of the shows that I was there, and he was running one single cable right from the stage to the FOH. It was a small corporate setup, similar to what it's right here, VRX setup kind of a thing. So it was he was running one cable from the FOH to the stage, which was running 2 lines of power for him over there. It was sending 2 Cat5 signals from the console back to
it was 1 line of power, 2 Cat5.
1 line of power, one line of power, 2 Cat5 and 2 digital audios. 2 digital audios were running through that. So I was so amused. It was superb, because if you actually look at the cost also of cables that guy was running on, he's kind of reduced his cost, because he had to run 2 power cables, the connectors for both the cables. Then he'll have to run 2 audio cables, power for both the audio cables, then 2 Cat5s, connectors for both. Then he has to buy that speed breaker that looks like a yellow color shit on the
cable managers.
The cable managers, where you have to put everything inside, and then removing that and setting that thing up is almost like a half an hour job. And nobody wants to do it, by the way. That's one job that no stage tech wants to actually, nobody wants to lift that thing and bring it in and put it. They'll try to avoid it as much as you can. So, but this is superb, because he was running and he put the whole thing up with a very thin cover, and it was superb. So I was so amused with it, and it's superb. It was like 1 cable and it's going back and forth. So all he had was a box on that side with ins, and a box on this side with outs, and both the ways, So these are solutions which are kind of available with so many vendors across the board, All you have to do is go out and educate yourself. In fact, if you just read the magazine that comes every alternate month, that talks so much about these technologies. the different things that are available is already there in the market. All you have to do is read it and implement it.
There is one more magazine which is available in the market, which is known as TP magazine. Which TP magazine does it like all of the biggest shows in the world, they cover this projects and how they guys do it. They publish in that project magazines and all.
Oh, nice, nice.
This TP magazine. That's like if a Coldplay is touring tour, they will take an article on the Coldplay, how they are deploying and everything, sound light, LEDs. With the multiple projects and how these guys are deploying, what the audio transportations are doing, this is how they are doing. So you can learn more than from the TP magazine also.
That's nice. So to go back to what Luca was saying sometime back, sorry Luca, I cut you. Yeah. To go back to what Luca was saying about this project that he saw in the UK with a huge amp rack that was getting lifted with the forklift and with a lot of things. Do you think we can kind of break that down in India and do it like? I don't know. Will a rental company in India kind of agree?
I think they are also doing it right now. We are also doing it.
So there was a time we used to do a complete rig setups. It took around 3 to 4 hours. Now I can probably say we can do in less than half an hour.
Less than half an hour.
With the all signal routings and everything.
See, once everything has reached the venue, see, setting up a speaker doesn't take time. It is pretty easy. That is the most easiest part, rigging of speakers, rigging your PA. That hardly takes any time. The main time consuming is your cabling.
So cable is the signal routing.
Is the routing, how you lay the cables, keeping it neat at the same time because you don't want the client coming behind you. These are the things.
Everything can be pre-configured in your warehouse. It's like, okay, you can fix the protocol. Okay, this has to be run like this. Now you have to just plug a cable.
Do any of you guys kind of pre-prep in the warehouse? Like, this is my show. Put everything in writing, saying that this is how I have to plan this. This is how I have to write this.
Yeah, we actually make a list of the amount of cable that is going for that show. It is all calculated.
No, I'm not talking about the cables that are going for the show. I'm talking about, say, take a chart and say draw your venue on the chart and say that this is the place from where I'll run the cable. This is the cable that is going to be run from there. So, and this is the guy who's responsible to run this cable.
See, the shows that are happening in Bombay is mostly happening in ballrooms.
Ballrooms, yeah.
So the crew already know what the layout of the ballroom is or what the setup is. So it's very much embedded into them what kind of setup or the cabling or how it has to be done. We don't go and tell our crew how to do it.
Okay.
So by the time I reach the venue, it is already done. They know how to do it. So it's all about training or taking them for a few shows and telling them how
it's all about schematics. Then it's all about schematics. That's how you want to run the cable.
If you're talking about bigger shows, so then yes, we have to sit and decide how it needs to be done.
Okay, so you do those pre-designing and pre-paperwork. Whatever you call it, but you do it early out in the warehouse. You kind of draw it down and say that this is where you run this cable. This is where you run this cable and. This same thing applies for lighting also, lighting and LED also?
I can say we can make a SOP, standard procedures, like a procedure, a system that this is how you have to run it.
Okay.
Because when you dependent on your guys that, okay, you do it, then they can mess.
Got it.
They can mess.
So don't
tell that guys, do it, and you tell how to do it.
I mean, create a procedure and then run based on the procedure.
Yeah.
So it works on lighting and audio, video as well, the same
I guess,
kind of
video also, because again, the video is a crucial part about the projectings and all that. Again, you have to make a racks and all that, even everything. But yeah, every content has been changed with the LED designs and all that. So that we cannot decide on the day because in India, how it works, man. We got a design is just day before the shows. This is how it works, man. So yeah, audio we can prepare for that.
Got it. Can we kind of run video, audio, everything in one larger run, lighting, video, audio?
What's happening now is that technology is moving to fiber.
Okay.
Is not something difficult to plan since now, because at the end, fiber means only TCP/IP based protocols. So everything can run through a fiber. I don't want to speak. I want to speak generally about things, but consider how much data you can carry on a 10 gigabit connection through fiber, not dedicated from the front of house to the the stage. So you can just have one switch on one side, one switch on the other side, one cable in between, and configure pretty easy the switch properly in order to have a section reserved for audio protocol, a section reserved for ArtNet or ACN streaming, a section for video compliant cable, and maybe reserve some, we call that dark fiber. So empty fiber.
Empty, redundant lines or something like that.
No, empty, yeah.
Empty,
no,
yeah.
Not connected.
Not connected.
To have an extender on one side and the other side, which means a very thin cable, some knowledge is necessary to configure properly both sides, but at the end you are bringing nothing more than they can be carried in the backpack.
Got it.
To connect everything is only a matter of knowledge to minimize everything. Now with fiber, you can have up to 40 gigabit per second of backbone between front of house and and the stage, and a full Dante stream, which means 128 to 128 channel bidirectional, is just slightly less than 1 gigabit. So
we know the scale then at which fiber can go. So I mean, of course, fiber is an evolving technology still. I don't know how much in India fiber will kind of come, because I remember, I think just the routers that are required for these fibers are kind of soaring through the roof, if I'm not wrong, when it comes to the costs. So
India also still need to be educated with the audio bus, with the fibers and all that, because there are a hell lot of things with the fibers. It's a single mode, multi-mode, where you want to use it.
Education.
Education. Because fiber, we can use the word fiber, but there's a very, very different, vast knowledge about the fibers.
I think that's what happened when even Ethernet and copper came in our lives. You know, when we got rid of the regular XLR cables and the bigger things, and when copper, Cat5 and Cat6 cables came in.
But that transition was not that difficult. The solution was already given by the manufacturers. But now with fiber and all, you don't have that. There are multiple ways that you can use it. If you actually sit on it and you decide.
That's a session by itself. Then.
Yeah.
a session.
No, I think Luca can help.
No, I think now. I'm sure that copper now has reached its physical limit.
Okay.
Also on data, on digital. So now you have to multiply the lines, but about Cat6, Cat7 cable, or even the coaxial cable, they reach the final destination. Now there is, in terms of bandwidth and frequency that must be carried on that, we have reached the end. But there is another thing that can be done. So switching to fiber in terms of bandwidth between back and forward, usually the fiber is the weakest part in terms of resistance, and the strongest part in terms of bandwidth. Using tactical fiber or special cladded fiber, it can allow to do something unbelievable in terms of bandwidth. But the Cat6, and this is an advice I can do, can be converted into XLR. They are actually a very cheap multi-pin connector.
Okay.
And with a distribution made with simple SFP Cat6 cable, you can distribute whatever you want in the cable without using more expensive multi-core.
Yeah, I think that's what Vishrut was talking some time back, like how they have converted all their state snakes into cat-based snakes.
Yeah, so we have the TX and RX. So what we do is like all the entire drum kit sex class come to that TX, and we just run a Cat5 cables to the stage rack, and we just plug it, and you get the entire 4 channels of the entire band channels on the stage racks.
Got it.
There is a big rental company. I don't know if it's famous here as well, but it's an Italian-based one. It's called Agora.
Yeah.
They handle all the opening show on Rio Olympics. Yeah. And they did everything carrying DMX all over the several thousand of fixtures there, just running Cat6 for DMX. So every single pair inside the Cat6 is an actually 110 impedance cable. So it's a real, a suitable DMX. I say DMX can run even in iron wire, but they run this very cheap IT-based Cat6 cable and distributed the DMX around the stadium for the opening ceremony, and everything was based on this technology. So in order to have something that changed the way we handle the wiring inside the stage, use not so expensive solution, but clever solution can do.
Clever solutions than expensive solutions. Yeah.
When it comes to the fiber, it's always expensive.
Yeah, fiber currently in India is expensive. Yeah. But I think this is a superb idea, a very clever solution. I mean, getting rid of microphone cables with Cat5 is something that I think even Dave Rat was a very big advocate of this back in the day. I mean, when he started a lot of Cat-based
even we use it for running signals on a longer distance. If we are using delay or something like that,
stuff like that,
how Vishrut is using it on stage, we don't use it on stage.
That helps me to eliminate any hum buzzing also.
I know, it's there.
And I think it's a very fast process because if you need to get out of there in 15 minutes and do a show and then come back in another 15 minutes, it's a brilliant thing. I mean, you save a lot of time.
Just the drum kit has to roll up here, plug the cable. You are good to go.
That's so good. So we spoke so much for so long about coming in 90 minutes, and looks like it's clearly possible in less than 90 also. How do we get out of this place in 60? I'll come back to my question of how do we roll cables. Because at the end of the day, you still put down a lot of cables. Who's going to roll them?
Obviously, the technicians have to do it. There actually is some really nice videos how to actually wind cables in a proper manner, so that the next show, when you're unwinding the same cable, how it won't get tangled. There are ways to actually wind your cable. If you go on YouTube, you can actually
I wish you could do a demo for me now.
I can do it for you.
If the Sancheth is saying that if you have a 100-meter fiber cable, if you have banned it from the connector, you're gone.
So for 100 meters and all, you need to have
cables. You banned it, you're gone. Bought a new cable.
So what about reels? I mean, are you guys advocates for reels?
For longer cables, yes, you have to use that.
So, I don't know if people know this, Eureka Phobes, they make vacuum cleaners. Yeah. So, they had if you would have seen one of the older vacuum cleaners of Eureka Phobes, you had to pull out the power cable from the thing, and there's a button on it. You press it and the cable goes inside. I always wanted to open it up and make that dabba for all the mic cables.
I don't remember.
Box, keep the cable in one spot, press the leg, and it'll wind it up.
I don't remember the name of that company, but that product was actually there in Palm with some other distributor. It was a snake of 8 or 12, and with the press of a button, the cable winds itself.
I saw that product.
I forgot the name of the company.
I saw that product.
That kind of product actually exists.
But what disadvantage I found that product, if you run the cables on the cable manager with the lots of cable, and if you press the button, your connector will be left over there and the cable will come. It happens to me. One of my guy has pulled up the MADI cables. So I see the 4 cables, the connectors are on the FOH.
So did you guys actually purchase it? That product?
No, I never purchased it. I am believed to be wind up my own hands, man.
Connectors वहाँ पर है, cable यहाँ पर है.
Because if the connectors are over there, how can you connect the cables from the DG cable? It happens to me.
So, cable winding, I think, is a very crucial part, and YouTube videos is something.
There is actually a way to do it. If people actually follow it, you will spend less time unwinding it, and the life of the cable will be much more longer.
Got it.
Also, I have seen the people mostly into the rental companies. They hire outsourced laborers and all that. Yeah. So the laborers are doing the setups and winding the cables. I believe the labor are just to load and unload the stuff. Rest, every technical crew has to do it. Because labor doesn't care what the cost of cable. They will wrap it up like the seen like that.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a predominant issue in India in general, because we don't have venues that are kind of designed to see what if you look at a hotel like Taj, okay, in Bombay. Okay, Taj Bombay now shows have been.
I'm very sure Vishrut is dealing with the worst places to work in Udaipur.
In Udaipur.
I've been once
actually,
to Udaipur.
you take Udaipur as an example. The places that shows happen in Udaipur were built 700,000 years ago. I don't know how many years ago. And people were earlier taking VRXs there. And today now there is L-Acoustics K2, DNB KSLs. And don't know what not is going into that place. The size of the boxes have kept going up. The complexity of shows have kept on doubling. I mean, if you look at a earlier digital console, the footprint was literally this much. And today, if you look at a 24D or a Digico HD10, it's the footprint is so huge, and taking it there inside itself is a task by task.
The biggest challenge we face in while doing shows in Udaipur is just the logistical challenges and all that.
Yeah,
how
you
you
can't
get
do a
your
90
equipment
minute setup
inside the
there.
venues. After that, you have the hotel restriction. Okay, you can't work with these timelines and all that. Then you have a very limited time period of that. In that, you have to work the entire thing. You have to keep the band ready. Sometimes I got a venue at 9 o'clock. I give the band ready at 2 o'clock. So this is how we have to prep ourselves. Okay, this is the timeline. The time can't change. You have to change yourself. You have to change your procedure. This is had to be.
Yeah, and in that 90 minutes, a crucial role is played by the event managers as well. I don't think there are any event managers here, but the event managers need to give the vendor a proper call time. What most of the time the event guys do is give same call time to everyone, right from staging to sound, and everyone reach the venue at the same time. So even
It's a chaos after that.
it's a chaos, and then the lighting, trussing have to wait till the stage is finished. So in that case, you can't do a 90 minutes.
So it's a communication. So basically, a lot of communication needs to happen from the sales end of both the companies, like the rental company and the.
I guess the rental company needs to ask question to the event guys. When is your stage coming? When is your lighting coming?
And I think sometimes
They will give you wrong, false call time. I know, but
You have
No,
to
no,
be
but-
communicated.
and also I think what needs to start happening in India as such, this I'll say for any service provider like ourselves, all of us put together over here on stage, we need to put our foot down on certain things. Like be very clear that if something is going to take X time, if you need something to happen to make your setup faster, you need to put that down, communicate, don't false commit the client also. I think that is also a very common thing that I've seen, false commitment saying that, "Arey, ho jayega. I'm talking in Hindi, Lucas.
I
sorry.
remember one of the incidents which happened to me 2 or 3 years back. We were doing a Prime Minister Modi show, which you have to cover the 3,000 feet area, something around 50-60,000 people. We were planned for 5 days setups and all that. Till 4 days, it was raining heavily. It's like we can't open our equipments only. And the show was on 10th, and we started putting our setups on 9th. On a one single day, we deployed 16 delay towers along with every single cables, and we worked for entirely 72 hours. We deploy the system, we check our system, we do rehearsal, we did show, and we did backup.
So your 90 minutes, so then 90 minutes can keep multiplying based on the scale of the show. Is it directly proportional?
See, that's what you cannot take every show into consideration that you can do it in 90 minutes. Certain shows.
No, that's true. That's true. Absolutely. See, that was just a very catchy phrase line. 90 minutes in 90 minutes.
like how you
the
can
idea was that in the scale of events, it should take minimal time and most optimum. See, the whole idea is optimization of how well you can maintain your gear, how well your crew is educated, and how well can you give the best results to the client. I mean, that's the overall idea, right?
Even though you have the best equipments, best things and all that, but you don't have a knowledge, you'll still got issues.
Great.
Because if you don't know how to solve that problem, you are in a problem. Then I will share some of the knowledge how to maintain your equipment in a very smart way. That what I have learned within past years and all.
Please.
Yeah, please. Even we all are interested.
So I have seen lots of people after the show they do lots of consoles are there. there are lots of dust, they do brushing like this, like this, like this. What are you doing? You're putting your dust in the faders.
Correct.
And you will block your faders. You have to blow the dust up. It's not like you put your cloth, brush, you clean up the desk. There are the patches on the faders. Entire dust will go on the faders. And when you want to run the show, the fader will get stuck.
So have the air blower
things and all
as
that.
a part of the
Air blower thing, faster to, then you need to be cleaned properly. Then clean it properly in such a way that you don't get any troubles and all that. Next, when you pack up the consoles, it's always the console will be on upside. Then you keep your fader on your top notch so that it won't come on the load on the motors. That there is a slight delicate motors on the faders.
Okay.
So when you touch the faders on top notch on the unity above the unity, it will touch down, and your desk will be upside down. There won't come the loads on the faders, motors, and all that.
So he's basically saying when you're packing your console, just keep all the faders up.
Got it. I understood. Keep all your faders up.
Small things makes a huge difference in the shows and all.
Yeah. So I think overall, I can very comfortably say that in 90 minutes you can set up a good show. 90 minutes.
15 minutes.
15 minutes. Okay, we've come down. Next year's topic is 15 minutes in 15 minutes.
I remember one more incident when we do, when I was a part of sound.com and we do Harman Line Arena, we got 5 minutes of changeover.
5 minutes. Harman Live Arena right here. 5
minutes. And that time the scale of the band was so big that there was lots of bands on multiple channels, and there was a band which is drum kit, next band this is not drum kit, all the percussion part. You have to change the entire and you have got 5 minutes. And that's because it's a running show.
I think that's the festivals as a whole is a different ballgame altogether. Even I learnt a lot when we were doing Supersonic a few years ago. That was the time I really actually went out and researched about multi-pin cables, and we made a lot of them.
That was the show that we actually went and planned how to do it. All our stage boxes were all color-coded and all that. It will go on the left side, this will go on the right side. You have to patch it here. Everything was planned to the dot, and that's why we were...
and we kind of divided the whole stage into multiple people also. Even a crew, the drums were handled by one drum technician and one stage technician. Same for guitars, same for vocals. So we kind of divided it that way.
So there was one guy for RF, one guy only for console.
Yeah, one guy for RF, one guy for console.
I deploy one max to max 2 guys for the stage patching, because the more the people, more the problems.
Got it. Yeah, that's also a very...
and if you put more people on shows, more will be the problems. Less people, good show.
That's what. Less, but knowledgeable and...
I correct myself. Less brains, good show.
Less brains, more show. Yeah, so I mean, but yeah, I mean, the guys need to know what they're doing. Yeah. That's the whole game. I mean, it cannot be without knowledge. And I think there's some superb work that's done by a lot of guys today in our industry in education. Yes. Like yesterday, I heard Rajesh Khade. I mean, he's doing a brilliant job. Niranjan has always been doing a brilliant job with Audio Academy and things like that. So there are so many of them, and plus so many new schools also now. So a lot of people, they really do. But I think it's also on the onus of rental company owners, mainly the owners, to learn and then educate and spend that money on education. It's much needed.
And people themselves should be eager to learn. Just by going to a school, you won't learn anything.
Yeah, that's true. But I think a lot of people think that they can't learn because it's education is not accessible in terms of cost, or that's where rental company owners who are having these kind of people on their payroll should start investing on education for these. For your staff, I mean, educate your staff.
We do that on a regular basis in our company. Yeah.
If you educate it will come to your company benefits only.
Yeah, that's all.
So rental company owners need to train their employees.
I think you can sum up.
Yes, guys over there.
Is there any technology or technique invented how to wind up the OFC, optical fiber cable, or just lay it down and forget it, use and throw?
Yeah. How do you wind up an optical fiber cable? If
we are using optical fiber cable for a longer distance, how to wind up, how to reuse that cable? Is there any technology invented, or as far as I know, just use.
Okay, so Luca, I'll just ask. I think Luca should be the best person to answer this question. He's asking if an optical fiber cable, what is the best way to wind up the cable and store it? Correct?
But I need to understand, are you using a flexible cable or you're using a flexible optic fiber cable, or you're using
Any
it for
optical
a
fiber cable, is there any technology to wind it up, or you, as far as I know, just lay it down, use it once and forget it. If you are going to wind it up, the glass, it's a glass, ne?
No, it's not.
No,
The
no,
cables are made in such a way that the cables are made in such a way that it can reuse it. But if you have not taken a properly take care of it, it will go out.
So I'll tell you now, there are cables available which are flexible optical fiber cables.
Oh,
Okay. So these are available in the market already.
Yeah, there is. Okay, I think the first thing is the choice of the cable, because now that let's say the tactical cable are filled with Kevlar, is flexible like a microphone. At the end, the surface, the volume filled with Kevlar is 10 times the fiber itself. And there are some fiber which are specifically made for cladding that can be pinched without being broken. So in this kind of environment, the entertainment market, the fiber must be chosen wisely. It's not as a matter of material. Glass is not expensive as a copper. So we are not speaking about things too much far in the future. Okay. We are speaking of something which is easy to be handled right now. Yeah. The expensive part is the termination, and the termination is the weakest part because the LC are very weak. So there are some protection. There is some rules.
He was mostly concerned about winding the
cables.
So I would suggest you use a cable reel.
Yeah, you should use a cable reel.
It's easier to wind it.
And you get tactical cables. So I think you just need to go down on the hall. Yeah. There are a lot of companies that are having tactical cables on display.
Flexible.
They are flexible. So you you can have a 300-meter run or a 150-meter run with the termination of your choice. At the end.
Yes. The cables are, nowadays the cables are so rugged, so armored that you can run a truck over there.
Yeah, you can even run a truck over it and the glass will not break.
They're so strong.
The real answer is that it's not possible to handle long run on live event of not tactical cable. The tactical cable behave like a microphone cable.
Yeah. But as far as system is concerned, it's fine. But when you are using for the LEDs, when you are putting one LED over here and the second LED at the 100 meter away from your console. So for that purpose, we are using this OFC. That is the basic.
Yeah, you can still use.
Not for the sound. Not for the.
No, I'm not talking for sound.
Fiber is for anything.
Fiber is for anything.
So as far as sound is concerned, FOH is hardly 100. I can say 100 feet, 120, 150, not more than that. As far
I'm talking 300 meters.
You can, with single mode cable, you can go up to 10 kilometers, right?
500. The single mode, 5 kilometers.
5 kilometers.
Multi-mode OM4 now is 500 meters.
We deployed 5 kilometers single mode cables.
Yeah, so it's possible.
Thank you.
Any more questions, please?
No. Good, I think we're also...
Last, not the least, I just want to ask Sachit, what advice you guys give to the aspiring sound engineers? Audio guys.
Audio guys, keep learning. I have always believed in learning. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep doing the right things. That's all.
And yeah, don't be scared of things that you not already know.
If you don't know, don't do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much, panelists. I would like you to remain here and get a small token of appreciation by Mrs. Smita Rai, our Director, Palm Aviation. Audience, please give a round of applause for our panelists for giving such a wonderful session. Please give a round of applause for Luca Opisi. Mr. Vishrut V. Joshi. Mr. Sachit Subramanian. And last but not the least, Mr. Sancheth Suvarna. Thank you so much, panelists, for being here.